Hey there, welcome to Civ Fanatics Ultimate Guide to Civilization 5, a strategy for prince level players. Uh, First thing I want you to notice, if you look up here underneath here where it says Civilization 5, it does not say Brave New World, does not say Gods and Kings. It is the basic level game. And the reason why I'm teaching this on the basic level game is because I want this series to be very simple, very straightforward, easy to follow. I'm going to keep each video relatively short and to the point. So why am I making this video? Well, the truth is that if you go on multiplayer, right, and you click on one of these games and you join it, you'll end up spending 5 to 10 minutes waiting for other players to join. You'll finally get in and get the game rolling, and 90% of the time, here's what happens. By turn 50 or by turn 100, half of the players are going to rage quit. And they're going to give you every excuse under the sun as to why they can't continue the game, and it's going to have nothing to do with their play. But in every situation, I guarantee you that the reason why they're quitting is because they've come to the realization that their strategy is inferior to yours. That they come to the realization that they have no chance of winning, so why play the game? And that's why I'm making this series, is to try to teach people, players who want to learn, a superior or a strategy that is effective. It will not guarantee you that you can win the game, but it will guarantee that you can compete, that you have a shot at winning the game. And it's a very simple strategy. It's a strategy that the more experienced players use, and it'll work. It will give you, and it boils down to this. Instead of rushing to the Great Library, which is what so many players do, and it's very rare for that to be the appropriate strategy. The only time you would ever want to even consider rushing to the Great Library or to Stonehenge or maybe even to the pyramids, there are reasons to rush to the pyramids. And we'll cover some of those reasons as the series unfolds. But if you don't have land to expand to, you might want to consider rushing to the Great Library, because that'll buy you a little bit of time, because you can't if you don't have land to expand to anyway. Then you can't follow the strategy I'm going to teach here. So you got to do something to give yourself to give yourself time to find land, or to take land from somebody else. And so in that scenario, maybe rushing to the Great Library is a good idea. But a superior strategy to rushing, because here's what the Great Library gives you. It gives you a free library, which gives you 1 science point for every 2 citizens, right? And you get that library for free. You get 3 points, science points, from the Great Library itself. You get a culture point, which is good. You get a scientist point, which is good. And you get a free tech, which is wonderful. But whenever you build any world wonder, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm not doing? If you are building the Great Library, which in the beginning of the game takes 15 to 20 turns to build it, if you're doing that, you have to. There's something else that you could be building in your capital, and your best strategy is to build 3 settlers in that time, in that same time frame. By building 3 settlers, getting 3 additional cities established early, you can have a better choice of what land to pick, right? If you build the Great Library first and then try to find lands, the players around you may already have those prime locations taken. And if any player who comes in and follows this strategy, which essentially boils down to this: build 4 cities, including your capital, get libraries in all 4 cities, and a national college in your capital. And then, and only then, look at building a 5th and or 6th city, if you feel you need it. And by having 4 to 6 cities, building them early in the game, by turn 100, you can easily have 100 plus science points per turn, right? As to where if you build the Great Library, you're probably, by turn 100, you're probably going to only have 40 to 50 science points per turn. And if you're up against a player who has done the 4-city national college, who's followed that strategy line, he's going to have close to double your science points. So, to be honest, and straightforward, rushing to the Great Library is an inferior tactic. Okay, so what this series is going to cover is pretty simple. I'm going to teach how to go about building those 4 cities, how to grow a city, what causes border expansion, how, what to do with your workers early, how to manage your city, how to manage the citizens, and do it effectively. And doing all of these things combined it'll enable you to compete with higher level players. So if you're the type of player who has trouble competing with prince level AIs or king level AIs, this video will more than certainly help you do that. And it'll also, if you want to get into a multiplayer game, most of these players in here, 80% of them, maybe even 90% of them, rush to the Great Library and quit by turn 100. So, with that being said, look for the next video, and don't forget to give me a like.